Greenpeace International. He has a history and more on the through Civicus, through work in the Global South with GCAP on the Make Poverty History campaign. And he's been our board chair since the start, I think, because all of us are kind of new in some ways to Tck Tck Tck. So enough about Kumi from me. I'm going to let Kumi do what he does best, which is rouse you up. So Kumi, come to the stage.
Thanks, Jason. Good evening, everybody. Just to correct one thing, actually, first chair of the Tck 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 campaign was Barry Coates, who you just heard. He was struggling to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, New Zealand time, for too many conference calls, so he handed it over to me. So friends, right now, the pundits say it's all over. That in fact, we're not going to get a deal, that it's going to collapse. That might very well be so. But this, remember this, it was on the last day, in the last plenary at the Bali conference, when everybody thought it was lost, when there was an intervention from the floor by Papua New Guinea, which said to President Bush's delegation, if you don't want to get to the program, get out of the way and let us move. And President Bush had to go and revise his position, and we actually got a roadmap to get here to Copenhagen. So, as you know, in some countries, they have this phrase where they say, it ain't over until the fat lady sings. Yeah, we are saying it ain't over until the thin man in Washington, D.C. signs on the dotted line a fair, ambitious, and legally binding treaty.
Woo!
We have to understand that what we're dealing with right now is survival. We have to understand, and the politicians need to understand, that in fact, time is running out. That it is still within their grasp, it is still within their power, it hopefully is still within their sense of decency and their sense of justice to actually do the right thing. They cannot, after 2 years of negotiating and more than 12 negotiating sessions, this year alone, 3 in Bonn, 1 in Bangkok, 1 in Barcelona, after all of that, they cannot tell us that they cannot actually move forward. Now let us just be very clear on what's holding things back right now. On cash, as Barry said, there's been some movements in the right direction. It's not what the science and the economists and even hardly a radical organization, the World Bank, even agrees with us that we need 140 billion at least per year in terms of financing. And here we have to begin to ask the question about political will. Because if overnight, 18 months ago, they could mobilize not millions, not billions, but trillions of dollars to bail out the banks, the bankers, and their bloody bonuses, surely they can find the resources to bail out the climate and essentially bail out the future of our children. On targets, I'll tell you, Tony Blair has been floating around here. Given that he's had such a great success with the Middle East peace process, he's come here to help with solving the climate crisis. And he's famous for using this phrase, which he used when I was on a panel with him with Ban Ki-moon earlier in September, where he said, you folks need to be very careful that you don't make perfect the enemy of the good. Right? Well, if it was good, that's one thing. And let's be very clear, perfect would have been if we were able, 30 years ago, to take action to prevent the Himalayan glaciers from melting. Perfect would have been good if we prevented Lake Chad from drying up, which is one of the biggest drivers of the genocide in Darfur. Perfect would have been if we prevented the desertification in so many countries like northern Kenya that is having a huge impact on the livelihoods of large numbers of people, and particularly women, because in Africa, we have a large number of farmers, small-scale farmers that are women. Now what I want to say is that when we look at climate change right now, we need to begin to understand that in fact, climate change intersects with many of our different struggles. I've just made the connection with gender equity, and we can connect it with poverty, we can connect it to human rights, we can connect it to questions of governance, of how we govern this planet. But what can we do now with time running out for this conference? We know time is running out for the planet. That's why we called our campaign Tck Tck Tck. but this conference has 48 hours left to go, and what can we do? I would say that we need to put all our focus on Barack Obama. Right now, there are some of our colleagues in Washington, D.C. that are delivering an open letter to President Obama before he gets on the plane tomorrow. That letter is already up on the Greenpeace site. It will be up on the tck website. I would like to make an appeal to all of you to do whatever you can to get that letter out to as many places as you can, and to use the power that you have to actually get the kind of awareness globally so that we keep the pressure on him. I think he is not beyond being moved. He understands that we have a planet in peril, a phrase he used many times during his campaign. He understands the fierce urgency of now, another favorite phrase that he used during the elections, and he knows, yes we can, and all we're saying to him, yes we can is only the first part of that slogan. He needs to say, yes we can, yes we must, yes we will deliver a fair, ambitious and binding treaty by the time they all leave Copenhagen on the 18th of December. Lastly, I just want to say on a lighter note, what we expect when we came here was Copenhagen will be remembered as Copenhagen, not a Floppenhagen or an Openhagen. And myself, like my hero, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, I'm a prisoner of hope, and I hope that all of you will continue to believe in the next 48 hours we can shift the agenda and make sure that we don't throw in the towel until it's actually over. Thank you very, very much.